next guest you will probably recognise from Sunday Morning Live, which she hosted with Sean Fletcher, and also the entertainment roundup that she does weekly on Lorraine. On top of all of this, she also has a fabulous podcast called Wonder Women, and also an annual event which inspires women working in the industry. On top of all of that, she is possibly one of the most positive people I know. It is Ria Hebden, who is a television presenter. Hi, Ria.
Hi, Tara. Thank you for having me.
Oh, welcome. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm really well, thank you. I've got a puppy in the background here nibbling away on my bed. I'm just thinking I might move that because she'll make loads of noise. This is baby Ruby.
Hi, Ruby.
Come on. Here she is.
She is gorgeous. On top of everything, you also have a puppy and 2 kids.
Yeah, you know, with the lockdown, we thought it was a really good time to actually get one. We were going to always get a doggy anyway, but because we were all together, it was a good time to train her as a family. So, you know, she's been an absolute blessing. Hello.
She's gorgeous. Now, you are a TV presenter.
Uh-huh.
Now, this is a very specific kind of career path. When did you realise this is what you wanted to do?
Well, it's quite funny because I'm one of those people who always knew from being 6 years old that I wanted to be a TV presenter. My mum, it was either my mum or my grandma, took me to the National Film and Photography Museum in Yorkshire, in Bradford, when I was 6. And I was toured around this makeshift TV studio, and I got to sit in the presenter's chair with the proper cameras and all the studio lights. And I knew then, actually, that is exactly where I wanted to be. So I always watched lots of television, lots of films. I studied media at college, film and television at university. And my very first job was at Talkback Thames. So I've always kind of known that I wanted to work in television.
And so you started at Talkback Thames as quite a kind of a young person, I'd imagine, after your degree, and you kind of worked your way up. Kind of where did it go from there? How did you get in front of the camera?
Yeah, and it's good that you asked this, because I would say to work in TV production is not the way to become a presenter. So I started off as a runner at Talkback Thames, which was a brilliant, first job, especially in learning to understand how TV is made from the idea to actually physically shooting it, editing it and publicising it. But I worked in production for a couple of years. I worked at Fremantle on The X Factor. I worked on Big Brother as like a junior researcher and an assistant to commissioners and things like that, which was a brilliant experience. But I didn't actually become a presenter until 6 years ago. So there's a big gap in between. After working in those production roles, I went traveling around the world. And while I was traveling, I wrote a travel blog. And I realised I could write quite well while I was doing that. So when I came back from travelling, I actually got jobs in television working in publicity. So I worked for 20th Century Fox, for Channel 4, for Discovery Channel and for Disney as a publicity manager, publicising TV all around the world. But while I was doing those jobs on the side, I was building up a presenter show reel, showing me in different events and different scenarios with different people to build up a body of work to be able to show people that when I was ready to be a presenter, I'd actually done the work.
And I mean, that is a lot of hard work, as anyone can imagine from hearing that. How do you keep so motivated? Because at that point, it was almost like your presenting wasn't a side hustle, so to speak, but you had to kind of keep your income some way, as well as developing the career that you were eventually going to go into full time.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, it's to become a presenter isn't easy. You need to spend a lot of time practicing, building up your experience, working in different scenarios and talking to different people so that you can show what you're like in different environments and also get a feel for what style of presenting you want to do. I always knew I didn't want to do news. I was always going to be lifestyle, daytime or entertainment, just because I'm generally very warm as a person and I like being in a live environment where there's things, anything can happen, things change very quickly. I like thinking on my feet. I think the motivation's always been inherent in me because it's a passion that I've known I've always wanted to do, and I thrive in that live environment. But also the motivation came from because I couldn't do it as a main income. So I had my day job in publicity, but knowing that's what I really wanted to do also drove me to keep at it and keep striving.
I also love how passionate you are about kind of championing diversity and championing the next generation of people looking into TV. It's an especially kind of difficult time right now, especially with COVID and everything like that. I would love to kind of just get a little bit of advice from you, because you're so positive and you have all these great mantras and like motivational ideals and quotes. What message can you give to people who are looking to be in the TV industry right now, whether that's presenting, producing, production, whatever that may be?
Yeah, it's a very tough time for the next generation joining the industry for sure. I know that the opportunities seem really bleak because a lot of productions have been stalled. I know that a lot of graduate placements and work experiences have been pushed back until next spring. So I kind of think if I was 18, just about to start in the industry, what would I say to my 18-year-old self? And I'd say you've got a wealth of industry knowledge and content online that you can access right now to learn about the industry, to learn about the people who work for the different channels and the different broadcasters, and to really kind of work out what kind of role you might want to do. There's so much information out there on websites like the RTS, which is the Royal Television Society, the Media Trust, BAFTA Guru, do loads of online videos with panel discussions and all sorts of stuff there. And also all the major broadcasters, they've all got schemes that they run. So I would be using this time now to register for those schemes so that when they do restart, you've already kind of ahead of the game. And just, doing things like building up a show reel. If you've got a mate that can shoot or edit, leveraging your contacts now and maybe seeing if you can, obviously from a socially distanced position, you can work together to film stuff and support each other. So I wouldn't be so downhearted about it. I just use this time to get informed and to get my kind of promotional tools ready. So your CV, your show reel and that kind of stuff. Join LinkedIn if you're not on LinkedIn, because recruiters definitely look at LinkedIn.
That is some fabulous advice. I love LinkedIn. I love a good LinkedIn stalk.
And hey, I found my mentor from LinkedIn, and there's nothing wrong by, with reaching out to someone and saying, you really inspire me. I love what you do. Could you spare an hour a month just to have a chat and give me a bit of guidance? And that's been the best thing I ever did was approach someone who I really admired on LinkedIn.
And in terms of also kind of going online to find resources, I feel like there's such a wealth of people to listen to learn from, whether that's just being motivated or whether that's actual content where you're learning. I know there's a lot of you can do like COVID safety
yes,
and test and stuff, completely for free. Mm-hmm. One thing that I love to listen to is your Wonder Women podcast. Recently had Jo Malone on. Amazing. What was that like chatting to her?
Oh, Jo Malone is extraordinary. I mean, she's such an inspirational woman. I mean, for people who are not familiar with Jo Malone, she is, she's a global entrepreneur. She set up a huge beauty empire with candles and scents, and she's just incredible. And what I love about her in particular is that she didn't leave school with any qualifications. She was is severely dyslexic, but she didn't let any of that hold her back. And, she really struggled initially. She came from a working class background, had no support or anything like that, and yet has become such an inspiration around the world. And interviewing Jo was amazing because I met her when I was presenting Sunday Morning Live last year, and I was talking to her after we'd filmed about Wonder Women, and I said, you would be awesome on podcasts because you've just got so much wisdom that you don't even realize you have that would be so valuable for people. And she said, well, I love the fact that you've set that up, Ria, so we'll find a time and we'll make it happen. And then because she's so busy, traveling all around the world, we were constantly trying to find a time that could suit both of us. And then because of COVID, I suddenly realized, actually, this is a really good time to reconnect with everybody that you couldn't get time with initially, to see if they're around, because everybody's at home, right? And thanks to technology, meant that I was able to do that. And it was great. It felt really rewarding to speak to Jo after all that time, knowing that I'd stuck at it and not forgotten that was somebody I really wanted to speak to. And, I made it happen. And I'm so glad you enjoyed listening to that, because
it was fabulous.
Yeah.
It was so motivational afterwards. I felt like I was really lifted. I was like, right, I can do anything. If Jo Malone can do that, then I can do anything.
You really can, and that's the thing. I think that's the most important message that I want to get across through the Wonder Women podcast, is by sharing people's stories of how they became successful in their own right, because everybody views success differently. Their message ultimately is you can achieve that too if that's what you want for yourself. So you shouldn't ever let any barriers, whatever they may be, hold you back from achieving what you want to do.
I think that is a lovely way to end the interview. Ria, thank you so much. It was great to chat to you.
Oh, thank you so much. Ditto.